Hey, what's up, everyone? Zach here with another review, and today we will be looking at the anime, not Sankareya, sorry, Jitsu wa Watashi wa, which translates roughly to Actually I Am, and it was a new show that started in about July of this past year and ended in September after running for 13 episodes in the last block of anime. It was part of the summer block, and now that we are in the fall block, this show ended, and we're going to cover the just about every key aspect of the show just to see what I liked about it, what I hated about it, and the other key components of the show to get an idea of what it was. And we'll start off with the story. The premise of the show is that the main character, Asahi, has a problem of he can't lie to people. He has a problem of being incredibly honest, and he tells the truth consistently. He can't lie. He can't hold secrets. Like, if anyone were to tell him a secret, he's just obligated as an honest person to tell the secret, even if it would, like, harm somebody. He just can't help but tell people the truth, and it's a key fault in his personality. Now, he has a crush on this girl in his class, which on the picture here, it's the green haired one. Her name is Yoko, and she's a vampire. Of course, the main character doesn't know this when he runs into her after class. He discovers that she's a vampire, and basically, she has to no longer go to school because she was discovered. And this kind of puts a big. This is a big, like, crossway here for our main character because he wants to be able to protect her secret and at the same time make sure that she can stay in school and enjoy her life because despite the fact that in class she acts very cold and quiet, but in actuality she's really kind of explosive in personality and really easygoing, but she can't show that personality because with the way that she talks, her mouth is usually open a lot wider because of how she talks kind of louder than regular people, so her teeth show a lot more frequently. And because of her teeth being vampire teeth, she can't talk like that outside of like the core people that know her secret. And basically, the show is about keeping secrets and also developing a relationship with the between the guy and the main girl. However, there are other characters here. Like there is the blue-haired one. I believe her name was Aizawa. She's an alien, and then this one here is his childhood friend. I can't remember her name, and basically, she her glasses have like a demigod in them that uh kind of I think it's like a demigod in training that's like a god of fortune basically. And then this girl here is a werewolf, and whenever she sees a picture of the moon or the actual moon, she goes from being a guy to a girl or vice versa. And basically that's the main point here. This it has a very strange cast of people around a regular guy. And it was an interesting show. Honestly, I thought the story was really like it was actually pretty well done. Until the ending, where the ending was kind of random and didn't really do anything with it, which I'm aware that there's a manga because I read it weekly, and they haven't announced the second season, but if they plan on having a sequel, they should try to deliver a better ending so people have the incentive to come back. So, honestly, story-wise, it kind of the ending and the second half of the show had a little bit of lackluster writing. It didn't have a strong second half compared to a very well done first half of the show. So I'd honestly, if I had to score the story from like a 1 to 5, I'd have to give it like a 3.5 because it definitely wasn't terrible. It just was kind of meh. Animation is the next segment. The art is a little odd for this show, especially in the facial design. Like it's kind of the eyes are a little big on every character. Even the guy characters have big eyes, which I know normally in a lot of shows, a lot of times the guy characters are drawn with a little more smaller, like stronger looking eyes, and then the girl characters are drawn with bigger, more like cute designs, and this design was implemented in almost every character. Like they didn't have an extra skeleton model for any of their characters. Like literally every character was drawn on the same palette, and it kind of hinders the show's animation. Other than that, I think the art's really colorful, but in a good way. I'm not usually a big fan of really vibrant, colorful shows, but this one does it in a way that where it's not obnoxious. And for that, I gotta give it props that they're able to implement such bright colors on all the characters and make it look good. So gotta give them props there. The scenery of the show itself is actually well drawn. Um, the character design's kind of meh, so it kind of hinders it. But overall, animation, gotta give it like honestly, probably once again, I'd go like 3.5, just about the same. Sound wise, the voice acting is very well done for this show. I really gotta give, honestly, I think the strongest point of this show, besides the cast, would be the voice acting. Other than that, the music in it is very good. The opening song is incredibly catchy. If you haven't seen the opening song for this, you can find it on YouTube. Just search it up real quick, and it is a really catchy song that I'm surprised isn't really talked about more when people talk about good openings from the past like month or so. Like, well, two to 3 months. Like, this was a really well um, implemented opening into the theme of the show because it's really like happy-go-lucky. Really, it really matches into the show's theme of just being just crazy, and it works really well. The ending song is also really good, and just the soundtrack itself, like outside of the opening and ending, is also well done. Not many songs are played, but there is some that are put in as like background music, and they're really they match well with the show's theme. So honestly, the sound gotta give it like a 4.5 out of 5 because they did a really good job on that. The characters I would have to say are the strongest point of the show. The cast is really, really good for this show. It's really well rounded. There's a lot of crazy characters, and they all implement something good into the show. None of them really feel like they're out of place. Like every character does something to give the show character. Where in other shows like these romance shows, they'll have these characters that really hinder the show. Like the childhood friend that ruins everything. Like the childhood friend in this show doesn't really do that. She's really crazy and just implements a funny, like, sadistic side to the story. And then there's also the blue hair girl who's in love with the main character, and Aizawa, she's the class representative. And she's also really crazy, and, like, all the characters just bring something funny and really bring a nice perspective to the overall cast of the show. Even his guy friends are actually decent in this show compared to the friends like in my last review of Sankareya. I wasn't too keen on his friends in the show, and Asahi's group, his little clique of friends, are actually good characters. So honestly, the show had a really good cast. I think if the writing for the choices of what chapters they animated for this were a little better, I think the show would have shined a lot brighter in this season, because this came out with a very lackluster list of shows. There was not a lot that came out alongside this show that were actually good, and that's one of the biggest problems. This show had the chance of being a spotlight show of the summer block, and instead, it just kind of started off really good and was talked about quite a bit, but then the second half came out and it really hindered the show, and that really sucks, honestly. But anyways, character-wise, I'd have to go with probably, I would go with like 4 out of 5, because despite the characters being really good, there is some flaws in some of the characters, and I'm not really going to go into details on that, because some of the stuff that I could mention about the character flaws and anything like that would probably involve development, and if you're going to watch the show, you really don't want to know too much about it. So I'm going to leave that there. What I liked and what I hated. What I liked, honestly, was the fact that the show was just really, really crazy. Like, every episode was really funny. It didn't really feel like they tried to make the show dramatic. Like, this is a comedy romance. And when normally some of those don't do a good job of being funny, like they put the comedy branding on it, and then it ends up being really dramatic. And I really don't need that. I don't need every romance anime show to be dramatic all the time. If it's consistently funny, then it's actually done a good job of having the goal in mind of being like a rom com show. And because of that, I gotta give it props for being able to maintain the comedy shtick throughout the whole thing. It's just really funny throughout. The romance side, honestly, it really shouldn't be branded as a romance, considering that nothing really came out of the first season of this show. If you're a manga reader, then you're aware of what happens later, but in terms of this show, nothing develops in these 13 episodes, and that's really, really disappointing. It puts a big damper on the show, and also, if people aren't reading the manga, they're expecting something out of this show, and they don't get it, and that really hinders people from wanting a second season. And if it doesn't get one, then obviously it's their fault for not really considering the fact that there is people that won't know that this is a manga, that they might expect this to be an original title and want something out of it in those 13 episodes, and nothing was really there. It just kind of introduced the cast and prepared people for a second season that might not even come. And for that, it's just really disappointing, which is honestly what I hated. I did not like the decisions of how they wrote the show, with what chapters they gave us in terms of adapting certain chapters, and just the overall progression. It like hinted at the fact that they were going to have a relationship, but never went through with it, and that's a big issue. Overall, I'd have to give the show a 3.5 out of 5, because the writing and the mostly just the second half of the show was not very good, and for that I had to hinder it. The first half was easily a 4, but after the second half, it's just 3.5. But either way, I still recommend this show. Sankareya, like before, I don't recommend it. But Jitsu wa Watashi wa, or actually I am, I do recommend reading this and watching it. I think it's a great show. It's not perfect by any means. Giving it a 3.5 shows you that the show, honestly, it's slightly above average. It's a good show. Like, you should watch it. Don't take it seriously. Just enjoy it. It's 13 episodes of pure shenanigans. You'll enjoy it. If you enjoy comedy shows, the show's funny. That's the goal of it, is to be... You're supposed to laugh. If you're taking it seriously, then obviously you've gone to the wrong show. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this review of Actually I Am. And if you did, make sure to leave a comment on how you felt about the show, or anything else that you want to put down there. Make sure to like the video. This helps spread it across the web so other people can find it, and also be involved in learning about this show and helping spread the fandom. Subscribe also, that way you can stay tuned on future content like anime reviews, manga, anything that comes up. You can always just come back and watch more. And of course, there'll be links to my Facebook. You can go ahead and add me if you want to. You can follow me on Twitter, and you can follow me on Hummingbird, and all that other stuff. And anyways, guys, thank you for watching, and I hope you guys have a great weekend, great weekday, whenever you're watching this. Just have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Later.